Hey, welcome back. Please ignore the fact that half of my body is in the sun and half of my body isn't. If I move like a tiny bit, either way, I'm trying to stay right in the middle here. On today's video, we are getting into lesson 4 of A Course in Miracles, and I really love this one, but I think I say that pretty much every time. So welcome back. My name is Kara Michelle, and I'm here to help you live your truth. Now, lesson 4 of A Course in Miracles is very powerful. This is when we start to actually look at your thoughts and the thoughts that are showing up for you throughout the day. Now, this practice, like most of them, is recommended to be done a couple times a day, morning, evening. You're not supposed to spend a ton of time doing it. And I really like how this book is so honest. It says, do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid a tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. And I was like, isn't that the truth? When you first start becoming aware of your thoughts, it is it's a challenge, right? We spend a lot of time just letting all of these thoughts cycle through without having that control or that awareness. So as you start to create that awareness, it can be very difficult, and it can be very easy for you to get sucked back in to those spiraling thought patterns. So by just practicing this for a couple short periods of time, it allows you to actually be very focused for like that minute and really kind of get the most out of it, versus the longer you try to do it, especially at the beginning, the more you're probably gonna lose the full power, the full potential of it. So this lesson says, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place, wherever, whatever your location is. So this thought about this argument I had yesterday does not mean anything. It's like the things I see in this room. That's just an example. So this thought about whatever thought you're thinking at that time, you insert it there, and then saying it does not mean anything. It's like the things I see in this room, which, as we did in the previous lessons, the water bottle, the candle, the windows, like all of these things that we went through, and we said these do not mean anything and I do not really understand them. Now we're doing this to your thoughts. So what's really cool about the progression of this is that the first few days we were looking at external things and starting to disassociate our meaning from them and change the strength of the power we were giving them. And just creating awareness around, like, does it actually mean anything? Do I actually understand it? Or do I really have no idea, right? We were looking externally though, and now we're starting to look internally, which is really cool, because we start to realize, let's just say that our thoughts are very powerful. And I know for myself, before I started even just my awareness and mindfulness journey and working on reprogramming my subconscious mind, before I even started A Course in Miracles, but back in the day, I really was a slave to my thoughts. And to me, what I think is so powerful about A Course in Miracles and the way the lessons progress is that it is here to bring you that freedom, to help you see that you are so much more than your thoughts, and help you uncover the lies and then the truths within your human experience. So I believed every single story that my mind was telling me, and it was so overactive and focused on the negative and constantly looking at, what if this goes wrong, what if that goes wrong, here's how I'd respond, here's what I'd say, here's what they'd say back, right? I would go so deeply into the potential experience that I was missing out on what was actually happening, and I was spending so much energy on scenarios in my head that 95% of the time never actually came to fruition, but it seemed so real, and I believed it, and I thought that this was how everyone was, which I think a lot of people are. But I also didn't realize that, like, I could control those thoughts, and those thoughts really didn't mean anything unless I gave them meaning. So by looking at this and saying these thoughts do not mean anything, this thought about what could go wrong at work today, this thought doesn't mean anything. This thought isn't like what's going to create it until we get deeper into law of attraction and like quantum physics and how thoughts are energy. But for now, we're just saying like, just because you're thinking something, it doesn't actually mean anything. You're giving all your power to that thought. I'll move a tiny bit. I'm like not quite in the sun anymore. Okay, so one thing that it does mention in here in this lesson is to really create a disconnect as well between whether it's a good thought or a bad thought. So actually, for all of the examples I gave, they were bad thoughts, right? They were like this thought about the argument, this thought about stress at work, this thought about blah, 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 right? But also the good thoughts don't mean anything either. So this thought about how beautiful the sunshine is right now doesn't really mean anything. And this thought about how excited I am for my day today doesn't really mean anything. So we're not trying to attach to positive or negative. We're just, whatever thoughts are coming up, that's what we're working on. And we're just realizing that this thought doesn't really mean anything, just like the things in my external environment do not really mean anything. And as I mentioned on another video, it is a very humbling experience because you do start to realize the amount of power you've been giving not only your thoughts and your internal, but the external and the things around you. So you're starting to see that all of these things really don't mean what you've been assuming they mean, and that you can kind of decrease some of that power. And obviously, as we continue working through this and through all these lessons, the point is to actually take your power back. So instead of giving all your power to your circumstance and your environment and the people around you and the thoughts in your head and the beliefs that feel so strong, instead of giving all your power away to those things, we're taking the power back and placing it back into your heart space, back into the core of your being, back into your soul self, and seeing that you are so much more than all of these things, and you can thrive, you can rise above, you can connect so deeply that you are just emanating love and light, and you are this beautiful beacon of hope and this spiritual being having a human experience. So please comment down below your thoughts on this lesson, and if you had any realizations or breakthroughs while practicing it. Maybe certain thoughts come up and you feel like they are very strong and there's this really strong energy around them, and so to say that this thought does not mean anything might be a bit of a challenge. So let me know in the comments below if you find that. And then just remember, it's not about like shattering your whole belief system in one day, and it's not about like trying to say that you're wrong for having those strong emotions, because those emotions are there for a reason, and that's because the thought itself is very strong and cultivating a strong reaction. But it's about the awareness, and it's about the acceptance and acknowledgement of the fact that your thoughts don't actually mean as much as you are giving them the power to have. So please comment down below, please share this with me, and share this with us, whatever your experience is. And as always, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, please hit the subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you will be notified again when the next one comes out, and helps to support me, helps to support the channel. So thank you so much for being here. I am excited for the next lesson, and let's continue to do this work. Let's continue to make these changes to our mindset, to our energy, and to our life. Bye guys.